Okay, so we come to the third one. Yes, as we have finished the second one, as I said, they are not sufficiently trained, or they are not being told or to do the jobs properly. So we'll come to the third obstacle. Now, sometimes transfers, because in government jobs there's a lot of transfers. So transfers and reshuffles of concerned staff was at especially at critical stages, when there's a big stage or very important stage, that time only there is a shuffling of staffs or transfer, at critical stages of formulation or implementation of a citizens charter in an organization severely creates problems. Okay, and what happens is the progress is hampered. So, and hampers or stops the progress of the initiative. So this is very very important. Okay, now the fourth problem is awareness. So there is no awareness. Okay, so awareness campaigns to teach clients about the charter were not conducted systematically. So that is also a very very big problem. Okay, so that is also a very big problem. We'll come to the fifth problem. Okay, just a minute. Let me grab this. Okay, so the fifth problem, because we have finished four obstacles. The fifth one, yes, the fifth one. Now, in some cases, so let me write down. In some cases, the standards, time, norms. So what are norms? Rules and regulations. Norms of services mentioned in the charter were either too small or neglected, or too tight and impractical. So impractical, so it's not very practical, and hence it created an unfavorable impression on the clients of the charter. So that is also very very important point. Now, okay, so the notion, so what is the main gist of the charter was also not known properly. So let me write down here. The notion behind the citizens charter was not accurately understood. Okay, so like sense, especially by way of information or brochures, publicity materials, pamphlets produced earlier by the organizations were mistaken for citizens charter. So sometimes so people were thinking that which is exactly the brochure which is for citizens charter. So that was a miscommunication also. Okay, so what are the deficiencies now in the current citizens charter? So let us now come to the current citizens charter. So let me just erase this. Okay, so yes, let me write down. Deficiencies. Deficiencies means the obstacles or which are less, okay, in numbers, or there are some problems arising, so that is called as deficiency in the existing citizens charters. Okay, the first one, there is no knowledge, so lack of awareness and knowledge. So if I ask you that have you ever heard of citizens charter, I have not heard about it. So even you have not heard of, because there is no publicity. So there is lack of awareness and knowledge, and obviously inadequate publicity. But if you go to Norway and other Scandinavian countries, they know their citizens charters very well. Okay, publicity, and hence there is no trust. So there is hence loss of trust among service seekers or citizens. What is the second deficiency? No training to the operative and supervisory staff. Third, no infrastructure, so lack of infrastructure and initiative. Fourth one, so there is a hierarchy gap, very very important. So so there is a hierarchy gap. Let me just rub this. So what is hierarchy? From up to down. So hierarchy, okay, gap. So what is the gap? It is between the officers and the, so from upper portion, upper level to the lower level. So the hierarchy gap between the officers and the operative staff. Okay, and what do they need to do? They need team effort. So that is very very important. Yes, let me just keep on. There is one more point which I need to discuss too. Okay, so the fifth point. So there is a different mindset also. So different people have different mindset. That is also creating a confusion. So different mindsets of officers and the staff who do not have any empathy, do not have any emotion. So it's called as staff insensitiveness. Okay, on the part of the supervisors and the staff, because they are yet to be sensitized, they have yet to be trained to be emotional, to be empathetic, you know. So that is why they are yet to be sensitized. I mean to say, I meant here is emotional. So they have to know what is the exact cause and how they have to be very, very sensitive towards the citizens. Okay. And yes, the sixth one, staff is not prepared to shoulder or to help or to give the responsibility due to the lack of, so there is no motivation, so lack of motivation and accountability. Okay, so nobody is asking that what are you doing, how you are doing the work, and nobody is questioning him, and that is why there is no motivation that yes you can do, what went wrong. So no motivation and no asking questions also, that why you have not done. And that is why the staff is not prepared to take, nobody is taking responsibility, everybody is saying like you take. So shoulder out means to take out the response somewhat, you know, manage and finish up the work. That's what. No interest, no motivation, or nobody, and you are not even scared of, like, you know, anybody is going to ask you questions, so you're not accountable, you're not bound to do this job. It's like your count. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to take it, don't take it, something like that. And the seventh deficiency is non revision. So there is no revision, they don't revise the rights or the citizens' right time to time. Complicated and restrictive rules and procedures. Okay, so now this is the very important thing. Okay, now we will talk about, is the last part of this citizens, is the guidelines. Okay, so let me clear this canvas, let me clear this, let me erase it. Yes, so we will come to the guidelines. Okay, so the next one is guidelines for the citizens charters in India. Okay, so the first one is the list of all offices according to the type of services they provide to public. So what do you mean by this? That means in this you have to indicate their location, where and where I can get it done. Okay, what are the areas they cover, what are the type of services they do. So type of services, okay, given to the public, and phone numbers. So under this is the list of all offices according to the types of services they provide to the public. Under this you have to indicate the locations, you have to see the areas they cover, the types of services given to the public, along with the phone numbers. Okay, so let's come to the next one, the next point. Yeah, so we'll come to the next point. The second one is there should be a separate citizens charter. You know, since there is a local citizens, so there must be a local citizens charter for each office covering the services they provide. Okay, so for example, let me write an example here, you will understand this better. For example, there should be a separate charter of the directorate. Then it, like, where you can find the director, where you can find his officers, the subordinate offices, the hospitals, where I can go for treatment, the government schools, etc. Okay, so according, all should be done according to the particular service they provide. Okay, so that is why there should be a local citizens charter. Okay, the next point. Okay, so the next point is we should mention service standards. Okay, so there must be a step by step procedure based on, like, where to go, how to go, based on, so let me write down here inverted commas, where to go, how to proceed, simple, that there must be very simple and easy fill up forms also. So simple and easy to fill in forms, so that whenever you go, you can just quickly fill up the forms with your details. Okay, and then you must have some specimen copy, that this is the way you have to fill up, so that you can look at that specimen copy and then you can fill up. Okay, specimen of duly filled in form. So some government forms it is there, the specimen copy is there, and some government forms it is not there, so that is a problematic. Then yes, documents, fees, etc. required. Then what is reasonable, then the time schedule, by what date you must submit, so the type schedule, what are the do's and what are the don'ts, etc., along with the names. So many things you need to fill up. And remember, addresses and telephone numbers of concerned officials, so that in case if you have any problem, you can contact them. So concerned officials, his alternate for each service. Suppose that he is not sitting in the office, so anybody else who can take care of your work, etc. So this is the mentioned service standards are very important, step by step procedure based on where to go, then how to proceed, then simple and easy to fill in forms, specimen of duly filled in forms, documents, fees, etc. required, reasonable time schedule, do's and don'ts, etc., along with the names, addresses and telephone numbers of concerned officials, and his alternate for each service also should be there. Yes, then the next one, let me go with the fourth deficiency. So the fourth one is there must be minimum documentation, self attestation and self declaration. Okay, then there must not be any duplication, so no duplication. Okay, so in case desired information and document submitted earlier, like proof of residence. Okay, so if there is no change, so if